Hi guys, it's Rocko here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we've got a special podcast with the Kujira team. They launched on Luna. We know what happened with Luna, but they kept building. They built their own blockchain. They took some risks because they didn't have the liquidity building on their own Kujira layer 1 chain. Now they've partnered up with Thorchain, who's known for lots of liquidity. This is a very big podcast, guys. If Kujira can do half of the things that they're trying to do, building a decentralized Binance and Kraken where you could potentially just connect with one wallet and buy any coin on any chains. You don't have to bridge and move funds over, making it very simple for new users. All RUJIRA holders will be able to get some of the fees generated. So I'm really excited for this. We've got Pragmatic Monkey, Kuji Cast. They go into a lot of detail in history. And we also touch on potentially RUJIRA Rune having Luna Classic on chain as well with what Jewish is building. That is also a potential option. If you enjoy the content, guys, do hit that like button and subscribe. We do these spaces every Sunday. I've been posting them on YouTube as well. Just comment below, like, I hate Rocko, I like Ruji, I like Luna Classic, whatever. It really helps the algorithm out. If you find out about a coin when a YouTuber with 100k, a million subscribers is talking about it, you're probably a bit too late already. You might get 2, 3x's. These podcasts, interviewing people that are, building ground up the key developments behind the scene actions. It could help you potentially catch those 10x, 100x, 1000x trades in the bull market. So enjoy the spaces. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment sections below. And thank you as always for your support.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Spaces. We've got a very special one today. We're talking about RUJIRA, the merge between Kuji and Rune. We've got a few special guests here. We've got Kuji Cast, Pragmatic Monkey. He's going to start off talking about history of Kujira, what happened, the links with Thorchain, what is RUJIRA, Bitcoin DeFi, and the most common question I've had recently, when merge. We've also got Patriot Sounds. I've not spoken to him before, but I've listened to a really good spaces he did recently on Thorchain. I'd recommend you go into it. He's going to give us a Thorchain perspective to Kuji and the RUJI merge. We've also got RUJI and Rexy here. Rexy's one of my good friends. He's going to help co-host and ask a few questions as well. So without further ado, let's bring on Pragmatic Monkey. How are you doing?
Hi guys, very happy to be here. All good.
Cool. Really looking forward to speaking to you. Kuji was one of my big bags after Luna. I loved what you guys were doing, especially Fin protocol, and then you had also other protocols that I used, the Launchpad. Grown up for DeFi. I just really liked your vision. It went amazing since I started chilling it, and then we all know what happened. But no, you guys are still here, still building, and hopefully it will make a big comeback.
Thanks a lot. And by the way, like I have been also following you for a while, and really appreciate your support throughout all this crazy journey we had. So thanks a lot for that. This is really also what make a difference for us. Having this very strong community that stick to us despite all the ups and downs ever since the collapse of Terra. So thanks for your support, man.
No, I appreciate that as well. I think it goes both ways. Like you shill something. Like for me, I became sort of. I guess I'm not that big on Twitter, but there's lots of bigger accounts. I got into Luna quite early, and then and once you shill something, it goes up. You build a big following for it. People ask you question, and Kuji was similar. I think it's a couple of years back. Kuji did like a 10x from like 20, 30 cent to like the $4 or $5 it went to, and I think I just shared a good trade, and since then I just got more involved with the community. Then you try out different parts of the protocol. I love the order book Dex Fin, and it just slowly snowballed from there.
Great. I love that you're a user as well. I think you're gonna love once we manage to go live on RUJIRA blockchain. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be thin as you know it, but next level.
Awesome. And I listened to the tweet that Rujira put out earlier about, I forgot the guy's name. He spoke at the Amsterdam Crypto Expo. He compared Rujira could be competing with Binance and Kraken. So that was a nice hopium I had before the spaces.
Oh yeah, so that was Mark from Denmark, and yeah, that's very much the vision. We are here effectively to build this decentralized Binance. I know a lot of people in the space have been doing this claim, but I think nobody is positioned as well as we are to offer that in a truly decentralized way and with a proper, very, very good UX. And happy to dig into all of that in a minute.
Awesome. Well, we're just going to introduce quickly to the other speakers that we've got here, and then we'll get started with you, Pragmatic Monkey. People, if you're listening, guys, do share, like, retweet the tweet, follow the people that are here, Pragmatic Monkey, RUJIRA, Rexy, RUJICast, Patriot, follow everyone. And yeah, I do these spaces every Sunday. We bring on projects. Hopefully, we'll bring on more RUJIRA projects. I'm planning to do like a Thorchain, Vultisig spaces as well in the future. So yeah, do like, share, and then thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's introduce RUJICast shortly, quickly. RUJICast, it was one of the first coins I bought on Kuji. Your Wink token, it did amazing. It was not good much for a while, and then it just went crazy. But yeah, so Ruji, RUJICast, if you just want to introduce yourself quickly, and we'll speak more later on.
Yeah, sweet. I appreciate you getting involved in Wink. So we, I mean, it's just me at the minute. There's two of us usually. We were in Kujira from pretty much the start. So we started a show that week that it launched. Kind of been running random stuff like that since, spaces, shows. Of course, launched Wink and all the projects that come with that. And yeah, here we are. I guess a couple of years later, still pushing.
Cool, good to have you here, mate. And then yeah, I'm sure we'll do more spaces together and keep the articles coming. It helps me educate myself on what's happening with RUJIRA, Thorchain, and I'm sure it helps other people as well.
Yeah, sweet, good times.
Sounds like a fan. Sounds like a fan of F1 as well. You got to keep pushing.
You know, F1. I'm sorry, it's one of the only sports I don't really follow. I do apologise.
Cool. Oh, Rexy jumped in before I could introduce him. Rexy is one of our good friends on Luna Classic. Rexy, do you just want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, thank you, and yeah, appreciate everybody coming. It's we do this pretty much every Sunday, don't we? And also on a Thursday, more often than not as well. Yeah, so I guess, oh, I hate these kind of terms, but I guess I'm a bit of a KOL for Terra Classic. I'm associated quite a few projects on the chain. Work with the casino, Terra Sea Beaters, I suppose, my main kind of team. And working alongside that, we've got the Terraport decks and yeah, and there's a few other kind of projects hopefully in the pipeline as well.
Cool. Thank you, Rexy. And Rexy is good at asking sort of newbie questions because I think I'm a newbie as well. I'm not a technical guy, but I think I know I've used Kujira, RUJIRA before. But asking those newbie questions can help some of the speakers learn more about what RUJIRA is building. Okay, last but not least, Patriots.
Hey guys, thanks WSB for having me up today. I am so very excited for this space. You've got some real winners up here. I'm very excited to listen to Pragmatic Monkey. I'm with the Thorchain community. I'm an educator. And what's coming, you guys? I'm losing sleep over it. I'm so excited. I'm going to let Pragmatic Monkey break it down, but the union between Thorchain and the RUJIRA ecosystem, it's basically turned into one big community right now. And we're basically making this DeFi amalgamation of a monster, and I am so excited. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna just let you guys go. I'll hop in when my turn comes. But man, this is gonna be a good one, you guys. I hope you're ready.
Awesome. Good to have you here. It'd be good for me. I need to educate myself more on Rune. I did buy some Rune. I've read a few articles. I forgot the Bitcoin guy's name. He's a Bitcoin maxi, and Rune was one of the first projects he really liked. And gives actual value accrual to the token rather than a lot of other altcoins. So yeah, look forward to finding out more about Thorchain and especially how it's how it's supporting RUJIRA. Okay, let's get started with the spaces then. Pragmatic Monkey, could you talk about your involvement with Kujira and sort of the history of Kujira from Luna, then having its own blockchain on Kujira?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with a bit of history and how I got involved. So it all started back in 2021. At the time, Kujira was just one protocol on Terra Classic, which was the only Terra back then. And what they were offering was a marketplace using a Dutch auction mechanism to bid on at-risk collaterals. So which at-risk collateral exactly is where they managed to get plugged into the biggest money market of all time in the cosmos, Anchor protocol. So on Anchor, you could effectively deposit collateral, Luna, but also Wrapstack, ETH, and a few other tokens, and then mint UST, and then you had a certain LTV that you need to maintain. And if your LTV go above a certain limits, then people can liquidate your collateral. How it works in all the rest of DeFi, including protocol like Aave and Compound, is that liquidation is effectively a very safeguarded market. Only a few bot operator, MEV bot operators usually can access it. You need to be it's a speed race. And what they do is effectively they liquidate the collateral at a fixed discount, typically 5 to 8%. And then within the same candle, they sell this collateral into whatever text liquidity they can find and capture this arbitrage within one block, which create those liquidation cascades, typically that you see when prices have to go down. So it's not really healthy for the market. It also means that it costs much more than it would for people who get liquidated because there is no competition on buying those at-risk collateral. So you just get this 8% loss on the value of your asset at the local bottom. And it's just it's a very lucrative opportunity, but only for the few people who can write MEV bots that perform this type of operation, which, by the way, is often the same teams as the team operating the actual protocol. And so for the first time at that time, Kujira the team came up with something very unique and different. It was this Orca product where you could bid on at-risk collateral on Anchor. And what it did was two things, effectively. First, it democratized access to liquidation, which in itself was beautiful. That's what attracted me to that. I could see my background in traditional finance. I like to understand how DeFi protocol works and the mechanic of it. And I could see that this was a big gap in the market, being able for everyone to participate in this liquidation was something really interesting, but something really missing. And it also means that democratizing this access via an auction mechanism make it competitive, which means that effectively it reduces the cost of liquidation for people being liquidated. So it's a net win-win, except for the people running the bots. So that was the start. I love this product. I was a big user of it. I really clicked with it. So I started also to invest a bit in Kuji at the time. I was simply a community member and a user. And then when Terra collapsed, I had a lot of my big share of my portfolio locked into various DeFi protocols on Mirror and things. So I could not get the capital out quick enough. And by the time I could get some of my USD and other tokens back, the price of the USD was around 9 cents. So I had two options. Either I would take my 9 cents of the dollar and call it a day, or I knew the Kujira team would continue doing something. They were still very active and very helpful in their Telegram. So I decided to just go pretty much all in with everything I could salvage from a smart contract on Terra, and bought Kuji at the time where everybody was leaving. But Kuji was still trading only in UST, so the DPEG had no impact. And because everybody was selling their asset and trying to get out, the price was also depressed in UST term. So it became one of my biggest positions. And shortly after that, the amazing team, Hans, Brett, and Dov at the time, relaunched in less than 3 months this new layer one as a sovereign blockchain in the Cosmos, with all those this much more expanded vision in terms of application, Fin, which they actually launched the day of the Luna crash, but also a few other pieces, and we'll dig into that. And so it became one of my largest positions. I started to get more and more involved in this protocol. I really love the team. Hans is amazing. It's a super smart, super competent developer. it's a gift for the community to have him. And Brett is a similar type of person for everything that comes to UX and all the incredible experience they're able to deliver with this product. And so for me, like, it became like the people I wanted to be working with, and so I just got more and more involved. And everything was going great for Kujira throughout the year 2023. It was this massive growth spur, but then a succession of events started to make things a bit more difficult. Reality was that we are competing in a very small ecosystem, which is Cosmos. So very little liquidity, which pushed the team to take a bit more risk as they should. It was difficult to bootstrap. So we had this amazing rocket, also great product, but no liquidity. And without liquidity, you don't have fuel to fly your rocket. So you need the fuel. And so what they did is borrow USDC and the tokens against Kuji to just help bootstrap this liquidity. Unfortunately, when we had this big market crash back in August last year, when there was an unwinding of the Japanese carry trade, I don't know if anyone remembers that, there was a big macro event at the time, and we had like a big overnight fall in all the markets, and Kuji went down with the rest of the market, and this triggered a liquidation, which created some bad debt in the system because there weren't like there weren't any cap on the quantity of USDC you could borrow, and there were the amount of debt was too high compared to the liquidity on chain. So after that, we learned that this was a very great lesson to learn, and that's how it works at the end in DeFi. Every time we do things in the open, we try. Sometimes we fail, but we learn, and we come back stronger. And so that's what happened. So we had after this event. So at the same time, Dove had to leave the project, and so I stepped in, and they offered me to come and help them to first try to stabilize a bit the things, help to find funding to clear up the bad debt, and then have a role of a bit like having a second pair of eyes on all those type of security parameters for the protocols, like borrow caps, typically, like to make sure that this type of events will not happen again. And so I joined the team in an official capacity at that time. I was working very close to them already before that, but that's when I came in. And ever since, it has been another crazy ride. So we first did this emergency fundraise to clear the bad debt. We sold 10 million RQGs, which are going to be merged into RUJI alongside Kuji. We met GP Tor at the time, who backstopped these sales effectively, allowing us to clear all the bad debts in a few months after that. And just following, so we did this first deal, and the plan was that we will move to build on top of Thorchain, but initially wasn't more deeper than that. But then shortly after that, GP came back, so he's very active. He always had plenty of ideas, and he was like, no, we need to do something bigger. We need to launch a new token. And so we came up with this plan to merge Kuji and a few other ecosystem projects that will be constituting all the core verticals of RUJIRA, as well as Levana, who got bring into the mix to build perps, and merge all of that into a new token, RUJI, that will also have a new supply with a new share that we're able to sell to a new investor to recapitalize the project and allow us to have like a lot of runway to really build these things in line with the ambition we have for the vision. And that's what happened and what we've been doing since last summer. We are getting very close to launch. Everything was great. And then, of course, we had another Black Swan event, which was the blow up of Defi. So we knew from the beginning that Defi had some economic flaws with some unsustainable mechanism in the way they were doing both lending but also savers, which were like completely destroying returns for regular LP if RUN was underperforming versus other tokens. And so unfortunately, its blow up just before we could launch. Maybe it's not actually that unfortunate, because at least now we are going to start from a clean state, and we don't have to handle this extra complexity of having to transition liquidity from savers and from landings into the app layer. Like, it would have been like at some point we did an unwinding of the existing position. It would have caused pain one way or another. We could have tried to alleviate that a bit, but it needed to happen. So now at least we have ripped off the band-aid, and the sky is clear, and we can move forward. So we are getting very close to launch. Of course, what happened delayed a bit the priority of the app layer and a few things we still need to launch, but we are getting very close to that, and expecting the merge to be live in the very foreseeable future. So that's for the story, and happy to dig a bit more now on the vision, what makes us different, and all those things. But I give you back the mic for a minute.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. That's a really nice story from start to finish. People listening could probably sympathize with you guys a little bit, because you went through what happened with Luna, and you could say that wasn't in your control. We sort of believed in the vision. Then you had the Kujira liquidation, which is going to go into a main question. I think you guys can probably put your hand up a bit. We could have done better. And then now the Thorchain, that also was out of your control. And now that's caused another delay. But it's better that it's happened now rather than when you guys were already live. So the first question I wanted to ask, you touched on it slightly on the bad debt. So I started shilling Kuji quite heavily in 2023. I mean, it was in a bull market, it's easy to shill stuff. But, people started saying, oh, Rocko shilled this coin at 0.5, and then it just went crazy towards $5. And then we came into that sort of $1 level. And I'm mainly a trader. I'm trying to learn more about projects and DeFi, and I want to delve more into that, work with projects and marketing. We're doing something similar with Juris protocol, which is going to be like an anchor protocol revived on Luna Classic. But from a trader perspective, I was like, $1 is retesting the big levels from 2022, 2023. It's a great level to buy, and I actually bought quite a bit more. And it's a decent size for my. I'm not a big whale, but it was a decent size for me. And then we had that crazy liquidation event, which you touched on. Could you explain a bit more on like how it happened? Some of the mistakes that were made before that liquidation event in simple terms as well, so people that are not DeFi native could understand it as well.
Yeah, sure. So the mistake here was very simple. Normally, whenever you create a debt market in DeFi, you should make sure of one thing, is that the quantity of leverage you allow against a given collateral type, so in that case, Kuji, has enough liquidity on chain to facilitate orderly liquidation. So what you want to make sure is when people, so if the collateral become at risk, and you become effectively in a position where you can be liquidated, you want to that people can still be able to bid with Orca or with whatever mechanism is in place on another chain to buy this collateral at a slight discount and then sell it while still being profitable. So the price impact of selling should never trigger more slippage than the discount you paid. And so you need to very be conscious of that, how much collateral can be liquidated if price drop versus given the liquidity on chain. And here, so they are unfortunately, that's a difficult calculation to make, depending on, especially if you use tokens that are listed on different venues that have liquidity on centralized exchange as well. There is unfortunately not an easy way to calculate the total liquidity of an asset, but you can make some approximation, be conservative, and put limits. The issue was that for Kuji, there were no limits on the protocol. And this was, I think, just an honest mistake from the team. Just we had this crazy period of price appreciation and TVL growth on Kujira, and everybody, including me, we're all feeling that we'll never revisit the $1 price again. That was kind of a given after all the success. And unfortunately, you should never be that optimistic, and so that's a lesson learned. And we should have just had caps for any other market. But at the time, it was perceived as safe. to get to those level of depth, even if actually the liquidity wasn't there. So that was the issue. And I think the other very important things to mention is the reason that led to this behavior wasn't like that the team is a complete degen, no Dove and some breads, and they are not like a crazy 10x long leverage, not at all. Like if you know them, they are very, very smart, moderate individuals. No, it was leverage by its use out of needs, because we were in this Cosmos ecosystem, which in itself is super tiny, but we are a tiny player inside this tiny ecosystem, and reality is attracting liquidity was very, very difficult, and we needed some way to bootstrap this liquidity to allow the economic activity to start flourishing. And so that was the real reason. That's also why this partnership with Thorchain for us is amazing, because effectively what it does is that almost from day one, not exactly from day one, but it removes the liquidity bootstrapping risk. So following the recent events, liquidity has dropped, but there's still like 120, 130 million of TVL in Thorchain base layer pools. And via virtualization strategies that will effectively mirror the liquidity of the base layer on the app layer, very shortly after the launch of RUJI Trade and RUJI Pool, one of the first, the second IMM strategy we launched will be this strategy to virtualize the liquidity of the base layer. And that means from that point in time, we'll be able to offer the same liquidity, the same experience, the same slippage on the app layer as what you have on the base layer, plus a small margin, because we need, of course, we need to pay also the app layer fees like any other protocol, and we need to. I mean, the way the strategy works, we need to take a small, very small amount of risk for the duration of one block, and so you need to make sure it's profitable for LPs. So we will charge a small margin on top of that. But you can use limit orders, which means that at the end, how the liquidity come to get executed against your trade is not relevant to you. This partnership with Thorchain is effectively solving what has been historically the biggest pain point for Kujira, and that's liquidity bootstrapping, which is a necessary thing if you want to be able to attract a lot of users and a lot of volumes on your platform.
Yes, two things I used to hear a lot from a Kujira community was the liquidity issue. There wasn't much around, and also the other thing was marketing. Partnering with Thorchain, I guess, solves both of them. And myself and other RUJIRA people can maybe help more with the marketing.
Absolutely. Like it's also like give us much more exposure and access to this much bigger community. As Patriot Son was saying, like he's doing, by the way, an incredible work with having such weekend space, very good quality, very good. A lot of people showing up there, and also he has been leading this campaign to raise the bond. By the way, people go, if you have rune, go bond your runes, increase the economic security, so we can launch the app layer faster. But so we effectively what Patriot Son was saying is that we are all like part of the same community now. I really feel that way. I was on a space with them the other day. Like we are all in the same Telegram groups now. You can really feel like we are all part of the same big family, pushing for the same big vision, which is like creating a new, better alternative economic and financial system for the world. That's really what it is all about, and it's decentralization versus centralization, and we are all united against this move. And I think like you really feel it, and I think no other community is doing that as thoroughly, as passionately as we are, and that's give us a lot more power in terms of marketing, in terms of reaching people. So it's tremendously helpful. Of course, we have also like our GP, who is quite a character on with a lot of following on Twitter and a lot of access, which also help drive will help drive a lot more activity and views. And we also structure things a bit better on our site. It used to be nobody responsible for marketing up to last summer and even a bit more recently. And now we got Erudite, who's probably who's actually listening also on this call, with our marketing leads, who has been doing a great job at also helping us structure things in a more professional way and do also things that we were never doing because nobody was in charge of that. So yeah, marketing and liquidity, both of that should be solved thanks to this new era for Kujira.
The liquidity issue. So could you explain in simple terms? So we know that Thorchain's got lots of liquidity. There's huge volume, people swapping on-chain cross-DEX, from Bitcoin to Ethereum and other different chains that's been added recently. How would that get moved to RUJIRA? So how would RUJIRA use that? You mentioned it could be used seamlessly. Could you explain the technology behind it in simple terms?
Okay, so there will be an IMM strategy. So first of all, on Kujira, it's very different setup from most of the other DEX you see in DeFi. Most DEXs are IMM DEXs. They are one and the same thing. They distribute liquidity among a single bonding curve. And yes, there is no difference. There is no other book. It's just like an IMM that is used to trade. RUJIRA does things differently. We have the DEX, the order book DEX as one piece of architecture, and then you get the IMM, the automated market maker, which add liquidity on the order book and which can do a lot of different strategies that all add liquidity to the order book with different risk profile, different properties, and all of that is put together in the order book and provide a much deeper liquidity, and it adds with people adding their own limit orders. And we have also our own special type of orders that will be live at LUNC, which are the Oracle orders, which also give a new tool for traders to play with the markets. But so coming back to how we virtualize this liquidity, so it will be an IMM strategy from RUJI pool. And what this strategy does effectively, it will look like, let's say you have like you have 10,000 USDC and you want to buy BTC. So if you want, well, you can either put a limit order. In that case, the liquidity in the base layer is irrelevant, or you may want to do a swap. If you want to do a swap, it has to be an atomic transaction, and you will be served by the end of the block where you submit your transaction. And in that case, having liquidity, deep liquidity is very important, because the deeper the liquidity, the better the price you will receive for your swap. And so the way we will virtualize the liquidity of the base layer is effectively we will have this strategy that says, let's say you have 10K USDC, you want to buy Bitcoin. The IMM strategy will look, okay, how much Bitcoin could I get net of base layer fees if I was to buy with 10 USDC on the base layer? And so I would do, because it's a base layer, everything is routed through Rune. So if I effectively take 10K USDC, swap them for Rune, and then in the same transaction, swap them for BTC, how much BTC do I get? Okay, this quantity. Now, because there is an additional complexity here, is that on Thorchain base layer, all the transaction, all the swaps, sorry, happen at the end of the block and are ranked by their price impact. So that means that the app layer cannot have atomicity. We cannot do a base layer swap and in the same block do something on the app layer, do a base layer swap, and do something else. So because of that, we need to have this extra strategy. And so what this strategy does, it say, okay, I have my 10K USDC. How much BTC will I get if I was to execute a trade on the base layer, which I cannot do right now, but I can do at the end of this block. Okay, you will get this amount. Then you can never be sure exactly how much BTC you will get, because it also depends of other people coming in the same block and doing transaction, and maybe it push the price further up and you get less BTC than what you would have expected. So then based on what you get, based on what you can observe in that block in terms of liquidity in the relevant put on the base layer, we will provide a quote for the quantity of BTC you will give to the traders that want to swap with 10 USDC, plus a little margin to make sure that in case the price move against you during that block, you still are not losing money. And then what happened is so to fill this trade, effectively the IM strategy will borrow from RUJIRA markets, money markets, borrow USD, borrow BTC, use those BTC to fill the trade of the swapper who want to swap his 10K USDC. Then at the end of the block, swap so it receives the USDC, swaps those USDC for BTC, and use the BTC to repay in the next block the loan that it borrowed just the block before. So that's how it works. It's an arbitrage strategy, like not a perfect arbitrage, because you always have this duration risk during one block, where if more people put a transaction and move the price against you, you may end up in a scenario where the cut you're providing, despite the little premium you had, wasn't enough to repay the debt. And in that case, that's why we will have, so of course we have a lot of security parameters, but we will have not just the money market providing the Bitcoin, but you will also have like a single-sided market making strategy, where LP in this strategy provide, in that case, they will provide BTC, and they will backstop in case the pricing you give is not as good as what you actually receive. They will backstop the delta, so it will be small amounts. And what happens then? It's trading, like so it's a number games, and most of those trades, the arbitrage trades that will happen every block, hopefully, will be profitable. Some of them won't be profitable, but in average over a long sample, you will be making money, and it will be up to us then to, once we start collect data, fine-tune this parameter, and maybe we don't keep it as a fixed premium. Maybe we can reduce it a bit to offer better pricing. Maybe we can make it a function of volatility or a function of the size of the trade. Once we will have data, we'll be able to refine. But that's the logic of it. And then that also means that people will be able, anybody who want to make yield on their BTC, in that case, they will be able to come and single-side deposit BTC and become a market maker in this virtualization strategy, and effectively participate in arbitrage without needing to have any technical knowledge. And so it's also another win, very much in the Kujira spirit. We first democratized access to liquidation. Now we are going to democratize access to arbitrage. So that's how it works. I know you say it simply. I tried to make it simple. I don't know if it was clear enough. There is a great, actually, video from Chris from Grassroots Crypto that walks through this full process with a little graphics that really tells you. If somebody can post it, it's in the docs.
I already did. I put it in the comments for you because I was anticipating people. So it's in the comments, guys, if you want to check out his YouTube profile, and it's one of his most recent videos.
Amazing, thanks, man.
Okay,
it's very good, and it goes into those details, and you should be able to understand after watching that if my explanation wasn't clear enough.
I think I'm more like a visual person, so I'll have to watch the video and read it again. It did make sense, but I still have a few questions. So yeah, guys, if you want to learn how RUJIRA is going to work with Thorchain as an app player, go check out that video. I've got a couple more questions, and then other speakers, Rexy, Kuji Cast, Patriots, if you guys want to jump on, add anything, do raise your hand. So Pragmatic Monkey. So I am more like, I guess not newbie, but I have a lot of followers that are more that probably not fully, DeFi experts. So I'm trying to look at RUJIRA from like onboarding new people. Will it have like an on and off ramp? So someone that has like, wants to connect their wallet to buy something with their credit card, would they be able to onboard into RUJIRA using one of their wallets through that?
So absolutely, that's one of the key things we want to offer. If you really want to have a product that competes directly with centralized exchanges, we need to remove this extra step where to do any on or off ramping, you need to go via Kraken or Coinbase or whatever. We are currently speaking with one provider in particular. I mean, I can give the name, like it's called Banxa. They are great. They are one of the leaders. They are one offering also the lowest fees and global coverage. So it's a bit of a process to get there. You need to complete some KYB, so equivalent of KYC for businesses, effectively. And then we will need to also like put some dev efforts into integrating with their API. But that's the plan. So I don't think it would be available from the get-go, but shortly after, like this would be one of the main thing we push, so we can offer on-off ramp for anyone without requiring to go via a centralized exchange. And the beauty of this model, so of course, from the moment you touch traditional banking rails, you end up having to KYC in most cases. However, you can even do that depending on your geography without KYC up to a certain threshold. So I think, for example, in Europe or in the UK, I think it's around like equivalent to $1,000 a day that you can do without KYC on another front. So that's quite cool. I think Europe now is getting totally crazy, and they will have to KYC for everything. But in the UK and in other less controlling countries, you will still be able to do quite a bit without KYC, even if you wish to. So it makes reduce the friction a lot for people who just want to dip into crypto for the first time and don't want to have to go through all those painful process and scanning their face and providing their ID and bank record. Like you can just boom, one transaction with from your phone with Apple Pay or from your debit card, and you on ramp this way. And if you want to off ramp, you can follow the same process, and it works as well.
Cool. No, that will be good when it's available. I think where I can help projects with, like, because there's lots of smart people when I speak to RUJIRA, Thorchain, there's lots of smart people, but making it simple for people that are fairly new to crypto is quite important to onboard like new users. So having that functionality would be great. So yeah, going back to your point on making RUJIRA compete with centralized exchanges. So let's say I have some BTC or USDT on I have some USDT on Ethereum, and I want to buy something on Base. Would I be able to? So on Thorchain, I know I can swap Bitcoin to Ethereum on chain, but if I wanted to buy something on Base, or let's say Sonic, for example, the Phantom rebrand, I was trying to bridge over to that to Sonic to do some DeFi plays or check out some new protocol. Would I be able to do those cross-chain trades very simply? So, for the USDT to Sonic example or USDT to Base example, can I just buy them quite simply on RUJIRA?
So yes, with one condition, which is very important. You need the other chain to be integrated with Thorchain, to be connected to Thorchain. So right now you have like 9 chains connected to Thorchain. Sonic is not one of them. So it means for now, you will not be able to do that with Sonic. But one of the big elements, so right now, all the attention on Thorchain is really about two things. Well, getting the app layer out, but also mostly getting TCY out to finish to clear the bad debts, resolve the situation, and move forward. After that, we'll come back to the initial roadmap, which was starting to incorporate a lot of new chains. Like there are a few in the making already: Tron, Ton, Solana, of course, like a bunch of others that should come fairly soon this year. And I'm pretty sure, given the success Sonic has, it will be added as well. From the moment a chain gets connected to Thorchain, then we can observe the assets that have a base layer pool on the base layer onto RUJIRA and create secured assets version of those. And you can do all your cross-chain exchanges on RUJIRA, so on Fin, just like you were used to do on Kujira in the order book, and with also with all those tools very simply. But you need first a connection with Thorchain. And that also means that there is this limitation at the moment that you need also to have a base layer pool for the assets. I think that's a big one we need to solve at some point, because so having a base layer pool is great for major assets. You want RUN to be paired with BTC, with ETH, with stablecoin, because those are tokens with deep liquidity, with robust tokenomics, and with a lot of volume. They are overall like good for the price of Rune. However, if you start to pair Rune, if you want to make a market for Trump or Pepe or I don't know what meme coin of the moment, and which has pretty certainly very crappy tokenomics, a ton of inflation, or insiders are going to dump on you for a very long time. If we are obliged to create a base layer pool with Rune for all those assets, this is going to be very bad for Rune price. It's going to create a permanent sell pressure, and effectively Rune will be offering excess liquidity to all those bad projects in the form of getting more of those shitcoin and getting and losing some of the valued assets, the stable coins, the BTC, ETH. And so that is something we want to solve, because we want to also be able to offer trading for where there is demand. So we should also be able to offer trading, I think, for meme coin and for whatever is the flavor of the moment on the other books if we want to compete with centralized exchanges. But we need to do that in a way that don't require to create a base layer pool. And so that's something, it's an engineering problem that will have to be solved by the Nine team and our own team, I guess. So there is no clear plan there yet, but for me, that's one of the important items on the roadmap. We need to be able to have a way to trade secured assets on the app layer without requiring a base layer pool. And from the moment we can do that in a secured way, that means we can create markets for any token on any of the connected chains, and then we can really start to compete with our centralized exchange. And we'll be the only place, and that's also like what it means to be omni-chain, will be the only place where you can do that for all token of all connected chains. So not just like if you are in the EVM ecosystem, you can have EVM to meme coin, but you cannot get the meme coin of Solana ecosystem, for example, or of Ton ecosystem. Like every of those blockchain with different tech stack are isolated, and the only way up to now to have liquidity in between those ecosystems was to use third-party bridges, wrapped assets, like very low security models. And now with the omni-chain, with RUJIRA, powered by Thorchain, we will be this liquidity hub, really connecting all those chains and eventually being able to observe all those assets on all those connected chains and allowing trading in another book with native assets, the same way that you would be able to do on a centralized exchange, except that instead of having to trust a multi-sig of 3 people or 4 people that can be hacked, as we have seen recently with BitGo, unfortunately, you will have still a trust model, but your trust is in all the 120 Thorchain nodes with your assets secured in a vault with private keys that rotate every 3 days, and by all those anon node operators. So much higher security model versus any centralized exchange or any wrapped assets such as wrapped BTC issued by BitGo on Ethereum.
Okay, just to summarize that to see if I've understood it correctly. So going forward, if you solve the engineering issue, if let's say Ethereum or Base is approved on base layer, RUJIRA could list Base meme coins or the popular coin of the day on RUJIRA fairly simply, so people can trade them like they're trading on a centralized exchanges.
Yes, exactly. That's the vision, and I see Codance is there actually. I don't know if Hans, you want to jump in quickly to discuss the technical feasibility of that. I know we have discussed it a while ago, and you say there was a way. There is always a way. Anyway, with Hans, there is always a way.
Yeah, I mean that would be huge if that's available. I mean, no other. I mean, Hyperliquid has been really good at like getting liquidity and volume because they're very quick to listing coins. Like you could short the Trump coin quite quickly on Hyperliquid, but again, that's just on one chain. If RUJIRA's interface was that simple, where you could just connect and buy a meme coin on any exchange rather than having to bridge over, go to a centralized exchange, that could be huge.
Yeah, no, it would be massive. I think that's a very important point. We are very well aware of it, and I think we will find a way to solve that. So not from the get-go, like we have a huge roadmap with a lot of different things we need to launch and tackle and test and improve. But that's, I mean, that's a necessity. We need to solve that so we can really compete with centralized exchanges and really cover a much broader variety of token without having a negative impact on real price, because that's we need a strong run as well and a strong liquidity.
Cool. I have invited Code Hands to speak. He's been leaking some alpha, so I do follow him on Twitter to look at to what's coming up. Okay, we've got a couple of questions now, and we'll go to Patriot next, and then Rexy.
Hey guys, so I was just trying to add a little to what Pragmatic Monkey is saying here, guys. This is absolutely how huge this is going to be. So basically, you know, Thorchain is the largest decentralized Bitcoin DEX in the world. You basically can swap layer 1 assets for real layer 1 assets. And I don't want to go too deep into explain how Thorchain works, because I know that takes a while to do. That's why I put the Grassroots Crypto link in the comments. You guys make sure you bookmark that or check that out later, because it breaks it down very well. Okay, but just think about what Pragmatic Monkey is saying here. Okay, right now we've got the technology down. Very hard to do, but we figured it out, of reliable cross-chain swaps. Okay, so now we have a base layer, Thorchain, that just facilitates swaps. That's what it does. Okay, so now what can you build on top of that? What can you build on top of that? Well, what is the one thing that centralized exchanges have that Thorchain can't provide? We can't provide advanced, you know, economic primitives like money markets and leverage trading, stuff like that. We tried with ThorFi, didn't work out too good. I can get into that, people want. But what is happening right now is the beginning stages where you're going to have people, they're going to have the ability to have all of the perks that you have on a centralized exchange in a decentralized manner, right? So let me explain this a little bit. Right now for Thorchain, people, when they want to integrate like wallets, we get new wallet integrations all the time. They use something called SwapKit a lot of the time, which is basically like API infrastructure that they just plug in on the back end. Really easy to do. Boom, they're going. They got swaps, right? And they're earning affiliate fees. Imagine if RUJIRA builds a SwapKit-esque type version of that, where now you have all these DeFi applications that were once only available on centralized exchanges, and then you can plug them in to wallets. Imagine if you had Trust Wallet or any wallet, your favorite wallet, you pick Ledger, that has the ability to swap, to do all the things that you can do on a centralized exchange. Game over. And that is swap fees going through Thorchain, and the model, we share fees between each other thing. This is truly incredible, guys. This is the beginning of that. Absolutely massive.
Thanks, Patriot. Yeah, I would like to ask you about ThorFi. Let's go to Rexy and then Code Hands, and then maybe we can ask a little bit more about what happened with ThorFi and Thorchain's thoughts on RUJIRA. Rexy, your question?
Yeah, I was going to fly the flag for the newbies, so to speak. It's so many people that are coming into crypto that are not just newbies to, you know, full and kind of DeFi, but actually newbies just to crypto. They often kind of struggle just with really basic terms. I mean, if you mention liquidity to them, you've lost them straight away. So what I was going to say is, how would you explain the project to your friend down the pub, or your friend who you meet in the restaurant who don't really understand anything about crypto other than it's something to avoid, because that's what the mainstream media has been telling them for years? How would you explain the project to them in the terms that they understand?
Yeah, I see Patriot sounds as his hand raised. So well, I go with my quick version, and then I think he will certainly be able to provide something nice as well. So for the person down the pub, I would just say that we are very high level building an alternative economic system for the world that is able to distribute opportunity and value creation much more efficiently between participants. So what it means for you as a user, effectively, it just means that you will be able to get a similar level of service paying less, or even generate money by becoming the bank yourself with very limited efforts, but allowing you to generate a return on your capital and generating a return on your capital instead of being your capital being used by a third party to make money on it, and you not getting any of the profits.
Yeah, so if I'm at the pub and I'm explaining to a guy, I would just say, do you want to live in a world that you can be coerced by a government or any type of regime out there? Do you want to live in a world where we exist in this fiat paradigm where you may be afraid to speak out or exercise your opinion or choose a political party or have a religious belief or non-religious belief? If you want to have a world where you get rid of all this nonsense, all this bureaucratic shit, all this tyranny, then you have to fix the money. You have to fix the economic system. And that's what Thorchain and RUJIRA and Maya Protocol, there's Maya people in here, which is like the hot sister, the fork of Thorchain, like the hot Mexican sister of Thorchain. It's great. That's what we're building, guys. Okay. So if I'm talking to the guy at the pub and saying, you want to go to blockchain because it is the ultimate form of freedom, and there's new primitives coming, by the way, guys, like Mocha. I don't want to get the conversation too derailed here. It's cheaper to use and it's more secure. And you don't have to worry about the bank telling you, hey, bank, I need to withdraw, 5 figures of money. I'd like to buy a car or whatever. And they say, nope, sorry, you pissed off the wrong person, or you're not allowed to withdraw this amount of money in this place. Like, we're changing everything, guys. We are changing everything. And what we're building is for the next 2 generations. I'm so excited. It's such an exciting time.
Pragmatic
Exactly.
Monkey. You said you're looking for marketing. I think Patriot Sounds should be the speaker. He'll do good marketing for RUJIRA.
That's why I love it. I think we are very much aligned. I think that's why it fits generally in our community. We are all very much aligned in this vision of building a decentralized future, because at the end, it's all about the sovereign individual. It's about, you have money on your bank, but actually you cannot use it the way you want. Like, well, what is that? So then it's not really your money. It's just like you are entrusting, like an entity is have custody owns your assets and give you the right to use a bit of it as they see fit, and not the other way around. This is crazy, and it brings also like also bigger question about being able just to express your opinions the way you want and not being blocked by any random individual. At the end, we are all adults, human beings. And it's kind of crazy how our society has evolved so well in certain way, but also in some other way, we have like just a set of random individual, elected or not, that makes the rule and decide what the rest of us can or cannot do. And for me, like this is not the world in which I want to live in. What I love about crypto is that it's permissionless. We don't ask for permission. We do things between consenting adults. We take the risk and we take the reward. And that's, I think, really the high-level vision of what we are driving for. And the same way, I think most people will totally agree that separating the church from the state lead to overall better society, more freedom and less corruption. Separating money from the state and separating, generally speaking, any sort of centralized power and redistributing that power and that ownership to the actual participants in the ecosystem, the actual users, is a much more lead to a much higher level of positive externalities for society versus a world where capital gets concentrated into fewer hands, decision power gets concentrated into fewer hands, and you end up with just a bunch of companies and a bunch of governments controlling 95% of the world wealth and the decision making of the entire system globally. It feels like we are a bit at an exhaustion point, and crypto and blockchain technology is our best shot at creating a system that relevels the playing field a bit.
Thank you for the answers, guys. Let's bring on Code Hands. So Code Hands, I've listened to a few of your podcast spaces before. I think there was one good one with Vanessa before. But if you could introduce yourself to the people that are listening that don't know you already, your involvement with Kujira, and then we'll ask you a few more technical questions.
Yeah, thanks for having me up. Hi all. I've had one ear in for the last hour or so. It's been an amazing chat. Especially this kind of what we were just talking about now, the pitch for it. Actually, it reminds me quite strongly. I think it was a couple of years ago when PM and I first sat down properly together, actually with the RUJI cast boys, and this is what we spoke about at length. And this was kind of the, you know, you click with those community members, you click with those people, and you know you share that vision. So just to reinforce all of that, really, it's really exciting to be able to move over to Thorchain and deliver this the way we're going to deliver it. But yeah, me, co-founder of Kujira, back on Terra in 2021. PM did a very good job of the history there. I look after the back end side of things. There was a smart contract on Terra. It then became the chain and the smart contract on Kujira. And now I'm contributing to the kind of the Thor node code to bring over the Cosmos and VM and all our smart contracts and wallet wiring and all the nitty gritty behind the scenes that you don't see.
Sorry, I was on mute. So the discussion when Pragmatic brought you on was when we were talking about in the future where you could just trade like on Binance. If you have USDT on Ethereum, you want to buy a meme on Solana or on Base, you could quickly do it. Could you share your thoughts on that, the technical difficulty and what we can expect from RUJIRA?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe let just me add one little tweak there. It was about being able to trade any tokens, including all the trendy meme coins that we don't want to have paired with a rune, and finding a way to offer the same variety of flavor as what we would find on the centralized exchange on the app layer without needing a base layer pool. That was
yeah. I mean, the issue here isn't a technical one whatsoever. The technical requirement to enable, you know, the kind of long tail meme coin trading on supported chains is really a 3-line change in the Thorchain code base. But what that 3-line change does is it skips the TVL check for secured assets, which are the tokenized representation of deposits. So in a centralized exchange where you might, you know, you get your deposit address, you get your memo, that deposit address is Binance's deposit address for Rune, for example. And so that's where all the Rune exists, and it's a 3 or 4 multi-sig or whatever it is. We have a similar accounting approach in Thorchain. You deposit your tokens to a vault. In Thorchain's case, that vault churns every 3 days and doesn't stay the same. But we then mint a representation of that token on the app layer, which is then what integrates with all the DeFi. And at the moment, that minting process undergoes a TVL check to make sure that there's enough Rune bonded to secure those secured assets, which is where the hot topic is right now. If we remove the TVL check, then there is no pool required to price the asset. Therefore, anything can be secured. If you keep the TVL check and if there isn't a pool, you don't apply the check, then you then have to categorize assets as to whether they're quote unquote blue chip assets or long tail meme coins, which is dynamic and probably not something that you want to maintain. So it's technically a very simple challenge. From an economic point of view, that's really where the discussion needs to happen.
Okay, well, that's good. So it's just a matter of being able to have a price effectively for those tail assets, which means like potentially if we wanted to keep them inside the TVL check, which is currently a fairly controversial topic given the current underfunded state of the network, we could do that maybe with an external assets. So probably not the right forum to discuss all that, but super nice to see that there is a very simple technical solution, and there is much more a matter of having an economic discussion with store nodes and demonstrating that having that, maybe we can do it with external, like we could account for that with an external oracle, and we could have
an enshrined external oracle would do it perfectly. But yeah, that's a big conversation.
So yeah, there's a path there, and I think then it's just for us to prove that there is volume because there is demand, and for those tail end tokens, and therefore there is revenue opportunity for node operators of having those trading on the app layer, and hopefully we get the support for that as well, and we can offer a proper centralized exchange-like experience, but fully on chain.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Codans, for that. That's kind of put things into a lot more kind of perspective, and I think what it feels like you're kind of pushing towards trying to achieve is making it easy for people that aren't used to crypto to actually use crypto, but be able to benefit from the general easier use of a centralized exchange, however, in the decentralized world.
To that. Yeah, absolutely. What kind of the thing that flicked for me recently was that there was a comment earlier about, you know, Thorchain is the decentralized swap layer. It's a subtle change, but I look at things as Thorchain as a decentralized layer one settlement layer. And so, you know, it's not just about swaps at this point. We've been having discussions with there's you know, the Terra OGs will remember Bidali, and they need to be able to settle to native USDC on AVAX or native USDC on Ethereum, and so their integration with the RUJIRA, well, with the app layer and with Thorchain in general is going to go live pretty soon. We might even have it for launch, and you know, that's not a swap, that's just settlement. And so once you start looking at Thorchain as the kind of deposit and settlement layer, it's the barriers to competing with centralized exchange just disappear. And so we are going to. It's it's been a long time coming. It's almost a meme at this point when a lot of people talk about building a decentralized Binance. But you know, we've been doing this now for 4 years, and we spent the last 2 years trying to do it on a layer one sovereign Cosmos chain with IBC and Wormhole and with Axelar and with Wrap BTC and all these horrible wrapped and bridge tokens, and it just didn't work. And even just using this on StageNet now, it's a different paradigm.
Guys, I hope you're listening to Code Hans here, what he's describing. Okay, we're talking about a decentralized Binance. It's not a meme. Okay, this is huge. What you're listening to in this space right now, this changes absolutely everything. We now have all the components to build the very thing that blockchain technology was always supposed to be, right? We've had to make sacrifices because the technology hasn't been there. Before we had Cosmos and before we had all these other abilities, you know, we had to go to a centralized exchange to get an IOU to swap for another IOU and then go back to a wallet, right? All this is going away. The only thing that centralized exchanges do decently well is the fiat on-ramp and off-ramp right now. But as you just heard from Pragmatic Monkey, we're solving that issue too. So this is the very beginning of a complete transformation of everything. It's truly astonishing what's going on.
You mentioned earlier about what the pitch of the pub guy and the messages and the comments everyone made are absolutely spot on. But for me, there's a very simple version here. This is, you know, Binance is the biggest centralized exchange or biggest crypto exchange in the world, and their founder is worth $4 billion or whatever he's worth. This architecture and RUJIRA and Thorchain and the partnership allows you to be that exchange, to own part of that exchange, and it feeds into what PM was saying about becoming the bank as well, because it's not just the like a service, it's not just a product that allows you to own the exchange, it's a platform on which the exchange is built, and the exchange is just one of those products that you are now allowed to own part of, and anyone else can come along and launch their own business and create their own project and have, you know, a secondary market, instant liquidity, borrowing against their assets or against the kind of their native equity, which is just it's gatekept at the moment, and it's not accessible to you and I. You've got to be $1 billion company that's got to IPO before you can have a secondary market for your equity. Yeah.
I don't.
One thing that gives me confidence is the UI. So in crypto, when you look at interfaces, user interfaces, the user experience, it's not usually that easy to use. But you look at Kujira, Finn, it almost felt like you're on like a centralized exchange. And if we can still have that experience with what you guys are building in a decentralized way, I hope you can achieve half of Binance. Would be amazing for the valuation that you're on currently.
Do you know what? Just my last comment. I've got to jump off in a minute, but I've been in software now for 2 minutes, 15 years or something, I think. And it is basically, you basically never get the opportunity to greenfield something you've already built and rebuild it again. Undoing all that technical debt, fixing all those little niggles. It's always kind of like on a roadmap that we'll do at some point in the future, and it never actually happens. And this kind of, it was, you know, it came out of difficulty, but this whole partnership is an absolute gift. And on a technical point of view, all those little niggles, all the RPC issues and the balances updating and having to refresh and all those little things that are annoying on Kujira, and there are lots of them, I know there are. We do try our hardest to build the best UX we can, but there's lots of little niggles. This is a chance to just wipe that slate clean and fix them all, to do them all right from the get-go. I think you're going to love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for jumping on Code Hands. I'm sure we'll speak more in the future. Patriot, I interrupted you there, but if you could, finish what you're saying and then explain a bit more about Thorfi as well before we've already been going on for an hour. We didn't even get to jump on Bitcoin, DeFi, and a lot of the other cool stuff RUJIRA is building. But we'll touch on Thorfi and then we'll go more into RUJIRA.
Yeah, I'll try and be quick. Thorfi was just a bad design, right? Just bad design. We trying to liberate the world, right? We're dead serious about that. That's why our relationship with RUJIRA, which is essentially we're all one community, right? We all hold the same beliefs. We're the same community. I mean, you can call me a RUJIRAN as much as a Thorchat at this point, doesn't matter. We were trying to build something that they're building, okay? And we're just not as good as it, okay? And there was a lot of pushback in the community for it. The thing about Thorchain, you guys have to understand, is that we are a community that we know we have to take risks. We have to try new things. I mean, when you have blockchain technology, it's kind of a philosophical debate about what you can truly build and what exists and what's possible. But there's a lot of unknowns. This is the first time we've done anything like this, right? So when we built Thorfi, it was very controversial, and we did something very smart where we put caps on it, right? We're like, we don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to give it a shot, right? We just don't. Hopefully we don't kill ourselves, but we're going to do a shot because we believe very strongly that we need to liberate the world. We only get one chance at doing this, so we're just going to go for it. Okay. Well, we realized while Thorfi was going on that it wasn't a good design, so we paused it. Right, you couldn't really take loans anymore. You couldn't add to savers. And it was like, okay. And then we had a few fortunate things happen. So we had some unfortunate events. So you guys know what happened with Kujira. We had the liquidity crisis. And then our developers looked at their technology and said, this is amazing. Like, okay, these guys are much smarter at this than we are. Let's bring them on board. Okay. And then we were hoping that we could just outgrow the Thorfi thing and deprecate it and get rid of it. But that didn't work out. So, we defaulted, but it didn't kill us. Thorchain, like I said, we made it conservative. So we're able to move past at this point. So, we're doing this TYC token, which is similar to what Maya protocol has. They have a Maya token. And we're figuring it out. Okay. So basically it was just a bad design. A lot of the stuff was built on the idea that Rune would overperform. Like you have this game theory of smaller caps outperform smaller caps outperform larger caps, and that's true. But if you make a design that's contingent on that functionality, then the game theory changes, and then you have counterplay. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't work. It's a bad idea. So Thorfi's gone now, thankfully, and now RUJIRA is coming in the helm. And as Pragmatic said very much earlier, this is a very good silver lining, because now we get rid of this system that we really didn't like, both savers and the lending protocol. And now we got it figured out. We're getting our ducks in a row, and now RUJIRA is ready to launch. And now Thorchain has returned to its original ethos of just being this rock solid, steady layer one swapping settlement protocol, like Code Hans was just talking about. Okay. And that's why this is so exciting, guys. My biggest fear for Thorchain was the Thorfi saver stuff. Now that that's out of the way, the code base has been hardened for like 4 or 5 years now. We've had every single bug you can imagine. I mean, it's so incredibly complex trying to get all these layer ones to talk, not talk to each other, but through Bifrost to be able to swap them, different consensus mechanisms, block times, the different numerical values in the code base. Very, very complex stuff. We figured all that out, okay? And we've gotten really good at it. And so now with RUJIRA coming on, guys, now we have a layer one protocol that you can build on. I'm going to try and not take too much time here, but I'm just going to drop just a little what I believe is alpha here. Let me give you another idea of what you can build. So you're going to have this whole DeFi incredible suite that RUJIRA is coming. Like you mentioned earlier about the guy in the pub, right? That guy in the pub, he wants to buy like a beer or snacks at the pub, whatever, right? Well, there's another app, I put it in the comments, guys, something called Mocha, and they're building a Zelle. I don't know if Zelle exists in other countries. It's like a banking app, something on your phone, very intuitive that everyone understands. Okay, that uses blockchain, like stable coins or whatever asset you want. Okay, how do you have a normie go and buy something in a business? How do you do that? Well, what do credit card companies do? They charge exorbitant fees, like 150, 300 basis points, right? Well, if you're able to use blockchain technology and like the liquidity pools of like my protocol and Thorchain, you can get incredible price execution. To give you an example, arbitrageurs are so good. If there was no minimum, we have done swaps for 3 basis points. Okay, $1 million swap, $1 million, $300 in fees. Get out of here. That is insane. Okay, and so now this whole other protocol is building where you can have a business and your Mocha app, you have Mocha app, and you're able to use the decentralized liquidity pools to buy goods and services. This is a whole other primitive that's being built right now. Guys, you are so early, so early. How many businesses exist in the world that would love to shed the liability or the economic cost of the fees by credit card companies, right? That's 150, 300 basis points. So people will be incentivized to use blockchain because the business can charge a cheaper fee for people who do use blockchain technology. Blows my mind. Anyway, I don't want to take too much time, but guys, this is crazy.
Thanks, Petra. I need to look into Mocha. It's the first time I'm hearing about it. Guys, I'm seeing a few questions come in. So if you have any questions, maybe due to time, I'm not going to be able to bring on speakers. But if you have any questions, if you comment below, I'll ask the panel. One question is about debit card. I think you touched on that, Pragmatic Monkey, earlier. That in the future, you're going to have on and off ramp. This question, actually, this is a good question. Has anyone thought of how to solve the underbonded issue, how to make sure RUJIRA has enough room to grow?
Well, on that, there have been a few parameters. Without changing the rule of the game, currently there is this campaign, of course, led by Patriot Sons, raise the bonds, and that has been very successful in bringing on more people to bond, increasing the economic budget. So that's one thing. There is also like a natural lag between the impact of more people bonding and what you see. There are now more node operators being added to the network. I think we are now at what, 94 live. It can go up to 120, but they can churn only every 3 days and 4 at a time. So it takes some time. But the consensus I have heard is that there is no real worries that will like the security budget to launch RUJIRA. That from GP and from us as well. So everybody is fairly relaxed there. But then, of course, if that was to remain an issue in the future, then there is the possibility of changing the rule of the game. Personally, and that's very much like my personal opinion, not speaking about the team or anybody, but I think there is definitely room to relax the security budget. Right now, you need to have effectively $2 of run bonded for $1 of assets secured, whether it is native assets in base layer pools or secured asset on the app layer. I think we could get that lower to 1.5 to 1 or maybe even 1 to 1 for the app layer asset. I think that would be still fair. So where the app layer pay for its economic security is by sharing 50% of its revenue with the base layer. All those tokens, secure assets on the app layer are put at work and will generate fees. And this half of this cash flow go back to the runholder. That's how we pay for securities. And that's very much consistent with how most of the blockchain projects are priced. Thorchain is the only one to have this very strict security model where you need those $2 of bonds to secure $1 of assets. Most of the projects have way less security. If you look at even like a small bridge protocol, but which secure like a fairly large quantity of assets on Cosmos called Gravity Bridge, I think there is a 10x delta between the value of their token stacked versus the value of the asset they secured, yet it has never been broken, and it's not generating anywhere near to the cash flow we expect to generate for the app layer. So I think without going totally like wild and removing entirely any TVL check, there is room, I think, to relax that if needed. And I also think like there is a proposal from Alux from Maya protocol, who has suggested we could use, they are doing that on Maya, I believe already. You could stack not just Rune, but also your LP tokens. And I think that would be a very, very elegant way to increase the security budget, especially like imagine that you can stack your Rune RUJI LP and provide security with that. Then RUJI is effectively also paying for its security in the form of this LP stack token. And it will also be an amazing proposition for stackers, because then you can effectively, depending on how we do that, we could have like this Rune LP that is earning, that is a base layer pool. It won't be initially, but eventually maybe it become base layer pool earning the share of the protocol going to liquidity providers. Plus you stack this into RUJIRA to get a liquid stacked token that is also earning 50% of the revenue from the app layer. And then you can bond that with the bond operator, and you also get the share of the revenue going to the bond operator. So it's kind of the holy trinity that would be super profitable, and I'm sure it would get a ton of demand. And this would be securing the network, and every single dollar of RUJI in there would be also paired with $1 of Rune. So it's beneficial for the price action of both, and it increases securities and will create a ton of room to put more secure asset on the app layer.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. There's a couple more questions. When merge, that's come up a few times. I think you touched on it. It's soon, but you can't confirm a date.
Yeah, for the merge, we need Thorchain 3.4 to go live. And once it's there, it will have the merge contracts in there. And once it's there, we will be able to set the date. Given like we have decided to move away from giving dates, because they are estimates, and we always put caveats that they are estimates and can change. Reality, it's out of our control. It's dependent on also other teams within Thorchain to review the code, and then on other operators to upgrade the code, get comfortable, and upgrade the code to apply that. So now, like instead of trying to put dates and then get people mad at us because we cannot meet the tentative dates, we will talk about versions of Thorchain instead. So we need 3.4 to be live, and once this is live, we'll be able to set a date shortly after for the merge.
Yep, thank you for that. I know it's quite difficult to give a date. We're building, I guess, Jury's protocol, and yeah, giving dates for testnet and mainnet is always difficult, especially when you're also relying on Thorchain's update as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a challenge, I think, for every project.
Cool. Rexy, you had your hand up. Have you got a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. It's yeah, it's great kind of hearing the speakers and all the passion in this project. It's something that I think on Terra Classic we need to do more of as well. So yes, so Kuji's merging with Rune, and that's where you're getting the RUJIRA kind of name from, if you like. Is that correct?
No. So we are becoming the app layer on top of Rune, but we are not merging with Rune. Rune remains a separated token.
I think merge is a bit of a misleading thing, right? Merge is like quite easy to say and like on Twitter, but it's not merging. They become the app layer on Rune.
Exactly, but there is a merger happening. It just doesn't involve Rune. There are a total of 5 tokens merging. So you get Kuji, but you also get Levana, who is included in this merger. Their team is building the PERP product for RUJIRA. Then you get the NSTK, which was Unstacked Protocol on RUJIRA, which was launched by the RUJIRA team. So it's getting back in-house. Then you have Wink, which used to be Trader Rocko, you know it because you were in this one, but so that was a RUJICast token, and they are building the NFT marketplace vertical. And then we get Fusion, which was also another protocol on Kujira, which is building the venture vertical. So it used to be the Launchpad pilot, which was a joint venture between Kujira and the Fusion team, and now they are going to lead. They are leading the venture vertical, which will comprise the Launchpad and various other tools to allow projects to raise capital throughout their life cycle. And you get a sixth one, which is RUJI, which is just like the derivative version of Kuji we sold during last summer when we were fundraising to clear the bad debt.
So are you in a
all the projects are merging together. All those tokens, you will have a one-way deposit into a contract. Their supply will be burned. You will have 12 months to do that. And on the other side, you will receive RUJI at a predefined ratio. And depending on the project, you have defined ratio. And you can you have a website. It's on Kujira/merge, and you can do all sorts of simulations. There's also some incentive mechanism allowing people to merge and stay in the contract for up to 12 months to earn extra reward from people who don't merge or merge late. And you can make simulations to see how much you will get and how much extra token you will earn, depending on certain assumptions around how many people participate and how long do they take for them in average to merge.
So is it, because I'm trying to fully understand this, so is it effectively 4 or 5 teams that have joined together to create a roll-up that sits under Rune and which you collectively work together to create the protocols to enable what you're saying earlier in terms of being like a fully decentralized exchange? Yeah,
so exactly on everything, we put those 5 teams together to create something bigger. That's totally correct. It's, to create this decentralized BINANCE and more. What is incorrect, you mentioned the term roll-up. Roll-up kind of imply like a layer 2 or an extra layer of abstraction above Thorchain that will settle on Thorchain. That's not the case. We are really inside the layer 1. We have transaction atomicity with Thorchain. We share the same block time. We cannot do atomic transaction for a swap, basically a swap, because of the mechanic of the protocol I explained earlier, that you have swaps always happening at the end of blocks. But otherwise, we can do, we share the same block time, and we can do, for example, I can do something on the app layer, then do a transfer of a Rune or any token on Rune inside the Rune base layer, and then do something else on the app layer, and so on. So it's not a roll-up. It's really part of the layer 1, but it's a smart contract box, CosWasm smart contract box inside the layer 1.
Okay, that explains it really well. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Pragmatic. I've got 2 more questions. How long have you got? Have you got 20 more minutes, Pragmatic Monkey, before we start rounding up?
Happy to stay for 20 more minutes. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Well, a question for myself, I guess, and also DeFi, and maybe Patriot could jump in here as well. So let's say I've got, I don't know, $10,000, $100,000. I want to invest in Rune, and there's lots of things you can do, right? You can go savers, you could farm Voltis here, you could bond, you could put it on RUJIRA, because Rune gets 50% of the fees generated. So if a DeFi investor is that a farmer, they've been farming on Ethereum, liquidity pools, on Sonic, what would you advise them to look into? How could they sort of make that decision? Oh, shall I buy RUJI instead and stake RUJIRA? Shall I buy Rune and get the 50% fee that RUJI generates? Yeah, so just an open question on some advice on a DeFi investor, how to navigate Thorchain and RUJIRA on the best yields, best money, best profit. I know you can't comment on the price of Rune and RUJIRA, but in terms of yield, good opportunities that they can find for their money.
So you will have plenty of opportunity, and we will build up over time on the app layer to put your asset at work, including Rune. Hopefully, we'll also build some strategies there. Maybe also some liquid stacked version of Rune, allowing to very easy access for anyone to bond their Rune. But I think for me, like if I have to pick one, the best way to access best of both worlds, if you don't want to have to choose, you can actually, you have a very nice stacking option for a RUJI, which is, so if you think about all the revenue generated by RUJIRA. So 50% goes to Thorchain-based layer as cross-system income, and the other 50% goes to RUJI stackers. But RUJI stackers are split into two categories. You can either single stack your Kuji and you get 50% of those 50% revenue, or you can stack a LP token, a RUJI Rune LP token, and then you earn on this token the normal trading fees that you will earn by providing liquidity into any other LP. And on top of that, you earn 50% of the revenue going to RUJI stackers. So for somebody who is looking for yields and who is interested in both ecosystem and don't want to choose and want to make money on the volatility between RUJI price and Rune price, which overall I think would be fairly correlated. So impermanent losses should not be as big as if we are pairing with a stable, for example. Well, then there is a very nice option, which is become a stacker in the Rune RUJI pool, provide liquidity there, and stack your IP token on the app layer and earn double rewards.
Awesome, and there will be single-sided liquidity providing opportunity as well.
Yeah, for RUJI, there would be simple single-sided stacking contract, and for Rune, we will so we haven't built anything yet, but we will have like several opportunities. Like it depends. Like if we enable any form of leverage using Rune as collateral, you will be able to effectively launch your Rune and earn a return on the app layer like that. Of course, we'll do that with all the safeguard and caution in place to make sure like there is enough on-chain liquidity to facilitate orderly liquidation if needed. Just going back to our earlier conversation, and then I was speaking about like creating this liquid stacked version of Rune. I think that would be very nice. At the moment, it's still a bit of a painful process to allow people to bond with node operator, especially if you are small, because the process is quite manual. For smaller holders, sometimes it doesn't really make sense for bond operator to go through this full process. Well, a very nice product would be being able to have a liquid stacked version of Rune, which in the backend is listed with a node operator, and the smart contract handles the deposit and withdrawal. And you as a depositor, you just get a receipt token that is auto compounding, and then having that allow us to also build all sorts of very cool product on top of it. So, for example, we have RUJIRA, which is one of the projects in the ecosystem that allow. They create all sorts of automation strategies. They are also the one building RUJI AI, which will be the ChatGPT-like interface to do all sorts of things on RUJIRA, just in like if you are speaking with ChatGPT. And they are planning to build some strategy where you could, for example, have your liquid stacked Rune or your RUJI, stacked RUJI, whatever token that has real cash flow attached to it. And then you could do like take a loan against that and have a form of self-repaying loans. Or you could say, well, I want to stack my Rune, but I want to effectively DCA into Bitcoin. And so you will just stack your Rune into this contract. And the yield generated will be swapped for BTC if you don't want auto compounding. Or you can do a mix. You can say, well, maybe I do that. I also take a loan at 30% LTV, and I use the cash flow, half of the cash flow, to repay my debts little by little, and the other half to increase the quantity of collateral I have. And you can do all sorts of very cool stuff with that. So that will be coming in a second phase once we have all the key building blocks live.
That's a really good marketing thing as well. So when I've seen DeFi ecosystems work well, when content creators, like myself and other people sharing these DeFi strategies, yeah, it's a great way to grow user base, especially when in a bull market when coin prices are going up.
Yeah, you will have ton to share, and also on the market making front. So I was mentioning earlier, for example, you have the single-sided strategy for LP who provide liquidity for the virtualization of the base layer order book. Then you will have NAMI protocol that acts as a saver that will automatically, for a given deposit, let's say you have Rune or you have BTC, they will allocate your capital across all those various opportunities automatically. So if you are a degen but you want a hands-up approach, you can just go deposit your BTC in their vault and they will go to the best yield possible. And then we will have like very killer analytics, like I think better than what you see. Nobody's doing very good analytics, I think, for DeFi project, and we'll have like a very good analytics, which also allow DeFi users to better understand how their returns come from, and which will allow content creators to be able to share very nice graphics showing the performance of a given investment. And that's the best form of marketing at the end. If we can show, actually, we have products that allow people to generate revenue. Just come and play. You can share a screenshot of your own portfolio with the analytic page that show your value creation bridge over the last 30 days, and that's great marketing. And it will also allow us to start to go to bigger institutions, family offices, this kind of custodians, and this type of people, and say, look, if you want to put native assets at work, native BTC or whatever connected chain at work and make money on it as a fund, as an institution, you can come and do that, and you will get also great analytics, and you can see like with real results that this is yielding real money, and the type of return you can get in DeFi is fairly attractive compared to what you will find in the traditional markets. Of course, this is a price. This is because we also have tons of volatility. So volatility is always the price to pay for higher returns. But I think we will also have so marketing not just on Twitter to DeFi users, but also in a broader sense to the institutional community. I think we will have a very good product to market on the line, and hopefully we can attract very good TVLs there.
Thank you for your answer. Same question to you, Patriot, from a Thorchain perspective. So DeFi investors that are looking, traders, for farmers, what advice or would you give them?
Yeah, so if you're someone who's holding Rune right now, we started a campaign. I think a lot of the Thorchats that are listening to this right now know about it. We started a Bond Your Rune campaign because I know a big concern of Rujirans, and rightly so, is that we're not going to have enough security to launch the app layer, which I am so happy to say has been incredibly successful. In fact, in the comments, I put some things. If people are interested in buying Rune, I put a little link in there to help you. You know, there's two old wrap versions of Rune that are deprecated that are still out there on Binance, or actually no, that Beacon Chain's dead, so only on Ethereum. Don't buy ERC20 Rune. Don't do it. It's useless. So we started the Increase the Rune campaign, Kenton, Jane, and a bunch, and it's been wildly successful. I put a comment. We are now going, if the nodes that we know are willing to churn in, we're at 94, I think, right now. We're going to be up to 113 on just the ones that have just signaled they want to churn in. So you've got your security, boys. We've got it handled. And my personal commitment to all the Rujirans in here is I'm going to push this super, super hard. The goal is to get to not only 120, but then I want to add pressure to the devs where we can increase the maximum limit of nodes. Beyond that, I want to get as much security because Pragmatic Monkey is right. Thorchain's security model is very conservative. Right now, we have a 2 to 1 dollar to security to liquidity ratio, which is very good. I mean, we're kind of leaders in this. We believe in being extremely safe, and you know, when we leverage our base layer, terrible things have happened every time. So, if to answer your question, sorry to go on a little tangent there. If you're holding Rune and you want to earn Rune, I say bond it. Okay, because check it out. We're going to have app layer come online. Right now, the APY for me as a bond provider is like 19%. Okay, we have an entirely new primitive, economic primitive that's come on. Every single swap that happens on the app layer is going to be extra revenue for the nodes, for the LPs, and for the bond providers, which would be you. Okay, so to bond provide, I put a link in the comments. It breaks down. It's super easy to do. It's not hard to be a bond provider. And if you don't have a lot of Rune, there are many bond providers that will take 1,000 Rune. Okay, and that's what $1,200, $1,300 right now. That's not much, guys. please bond your rune, because the more security we add, the app layer can get going. And then also we have new chains that are going to be coming too, like XRP and a bunch of other stuff. We don't care what chain it is, guys. We just want swap volume. That's the end of the day. So we want to add a lot of chains. We don't want to decide the market. We want to let the market decide, right? So we have a lot of things. So add security to the network, because you're going to earn rune on your rune, and it's absolutely great. And then just try to imagine the rewards of people being able to use the RUJIRA app layer, because ThorFi, even though it failed, the demand was wild. It was wild. We had a cap for ThorFi of how many loans that could be taken out. It was filled, I think it was like 48 hours. Okay, so the demand for what RUJIRA has built is incredible. Okay, so bond your rune. That's what I would say. You know, buying RUJIRA, doing everything Pragmatic Monkey said, that's good advice too. But if you are holding rune, I'm telling you, bond your damn rune, because if you hold it, you must believe that we're destined for greatness. I mean, a decentralized Binance, you can assign numbers to that. You're all smart enough to do that. Okay, now you can earn rune on your rune, and you're going to help add security to the network. You're basically helping yourself become successful. You are displaying agency, and you're helping the app layer. Everything gets better. Okay, guys. So bond your rune. That's my advice.
Thanks,
So,
Patriot.
so how do you go about bonding your rune then?
I put it, okay, so in the comments, go there. I put a link in there. You have to just contact a node operator. I'll put a link of all the node operators too when I'm done speaking here. You just contact a node operator, say, hey, I want to bond. It's good to have a legal relationship with the node operator. They can't steal your rune or anything like that, right? They can't touch it because it goes into a module. But, you know, if something bad happens, it's just, who knows, right? There's risk in everything. It's pretty friggin' safe, guys. I'm not trying to give you a false sense of security. It's pretty low risk relative to anything else. But you want to have a relationship with them, okay? It's just smart to do. And then they whitelist your address, okay? And then you just add it, boom, done. Takes like 20, 30 seconds. It's really easy to do. There's really great node operators out there. People are probably familiar with Kenton. Me and him have been working a lot. He has a 10,000 minimum just because he only has so much time. But Yangu, PFC Validator, and AutoStake, they accept bond providers as low as 1,000. So if you don't feel like you own a lot of room, you definitely can contribute to the network. Every single rune that makes it into security is only going to increase the likelihood that your rune increases in value, in my opinion. Okay, so if anyone wants guides, please DM me right now. If you got rune, you're interested in bonding it, reach out to me, and we're going to get this going.
Yeah, you've shared quite a few links below, guys. Yeah, check it out. Learn more about Rune and also RUJIRA. Okay, you touched on some of the validators you mentioned. They also validate on Luna Classic. So I guess a question on Luna Classic and Anchor Protocol, Jewish Protocol, Pragmatic. Do you still follow Luna Classic after the DPEG? I know you said you started off on Luna.
So no, to be honest, so reality is I haven't that much time to. I used to be much more active in the Defi and other chains when I wasn't so involved into Kujira and then RUJIRA. But no, Terra Classic, I have to say, since the collapse, I haven't done anything there. I think it's great that the community still try to keep it running and evolving. But personally, I haven't been involved. So I'm not.
No, it's okay. Well, one of the things we are trying to do is Anchor Protocol. So you mentioned Anchor Protocol earlier. So we're building something similar without the USTC DGen 20% API, like a lending protocol on Luna Classic. That's Jewish Protocol. He's on here. I don't know if he wants to come up and speak. So yeah, let's see what we can do. It is, community getting together to keep it running and building is, not got as much funding as a lot of the other platforms, but the community is still there.
No, that's good. Hopefully, maybe one day we can connect Luna Classic to Thorchain or Maya. That would be fun.
Yeah, maybe through Maya first. It's still got a big community, and if we can show through Maya that it still works, there's still volume coming in, and it makes business sense for all of us. Then yeah, that could be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so thanks, Rocko, for letting me speak. Hi, RUJIRA guys. I've been listening with excitement because Kujira used to be one of my favorite DeFi projects. And a lot of the stuff that we are doing with jurors, let's say we got inspired by you guys. I really loved the grown up DeFi slogan back then, and the mature UI that you guys mentioned. So we try to have a sleek UI inspired by you guys. Maybe you can check it out. We have some tweets, and yeah, looking forward to maybe collab in future at some point in time when we launch.
Cool, thank you for that. Well, one other thing I wanted to touch on was the Bitcoin DeFi, because Bitcoin people, Bitcoin maximalists, people with serious money, they're not really open to altcoins as much. I have seen, with Rune, that's why I got involved with Rune. I forgot his name now. If any of you can remember his name, is it Eric? Someone? He did a really good post on Thorchain.
Eric Voorhees.
Eric Voorhees, yep.
Yes, yeah, he made a really good article, and it made me think, oh wow, Rune's actually a serious project, and I can see it working. But yeah, so Rune was one of the first projects I'd say that Bitcoin maximalists were open to, and they don't like trying out different platforms. But RUJIRA with Bitcoin DeFi, you guys are targeting that. Could you talk a bit more on that? I think that could be another very bullish catalyst for RUJIRA.
No, yeah, of course. So we can enable DeFi with native assets thanks to Thorchain technology using the secured assets tech I mentioned earlier that apply to any token from any connected chain to Thorchain. But of course, one of the biggest chain connected to Thorchain is Bitcoin. And this is particularly interesting for Bitcoin because Bitcoin, unlike Ethereum, Solana, and the other ecosystem who have smart contracts, Bitcoin doesn't have smart contracts. So currently, if you want to access DeFi with Bitcoin, the biggest way to do that is to use wrap Bitcoin, WBTC, which is effectively a wrap version by a centralized custodian called BitGo. They effectively have a multisig somewhere where they store those Bitcoin, and then you need to do KYC and all those things, and then they issue you, if you have an account with them, they can issue, you can deposit Bitcoin into their multisig, and they issue you a representation of this Bitcoin WBTC on Ethereum. And then if you want to use that, you can use this wrap version into DeFi, and you can use it also in other ecosystem, and then you will bridge your wrap BTC to the Cosmos or to Solana, I don't know, and then you have two layers of exogenous risk. You have first the layer that you trust a centralized entity, which can potentially freeze your assets if you do something that they don't like, or which can lose those Bitcoin if for some reason their multisig is compromised, just like what happened with BitGo just a few weeks ago. And if you then don't use this directly on Ethereum, but you use it on some other chain where this wrap BTC has been breached, you also add a second exogenous risk factor, which is the third-party breach, and you need to trust not only the issuer of the wrap BTC, but you also need to trust the security of the breach provider. Thanks to secured assets, we can remove all this exogenous risk and do Bitcoin with native BTC in a 100% decentralized fashion. And that's massive. So for the first time, you will be able to use your Bitcoin, and and because we are also omni-chain, what does omni-chain mean? It means, of course, that you have access to all those connected chain, but concretely, like for a user, it means that no matter where your assets are, if this chain is connected to Thorchain, effectively you are able to connect your wallet, let's say from the Bitcoin chain, use your CTRL wallet, which is the only browser wallet I know that support Bitcoin. And but in one transaction from your Bitcoin wallet, you can do something like I'm gonna put a limit order to sell some of my BTC for USDC on RUJIRA, and you sign a Bitcoin transaction, and a block later, it will appear, your order will appear in a RUJIRA order book. And if you connect your Bitcoin wallet to RUJIRA, it will see the balance that you have in your Bitcoin wallet natively. It will be there automatically, and it will be the case if you connect all your other wallets, you can all connect them at the same time. You will see all your assets on a different chain, and so you can do this from your Bitcoin wallet. You can do take a loan, for example. You can say I'm going to sign a transaction from my Bitcoin wallet. and I want to borrow USDC at 30% LTV and receive USDC on Base. You sign that from your Bitcoin wallet, and a few blocks later, you receive your USDC in your Base wallet. This is massive. This is the first time that people can use their native Bitcoin directly from their Bitcoin wallets into DeFi and do things like, for now, like if you wanted to sell your Bitcoin, the only way to do that as a Bitcoin maxi who is like probably very pro decentralization and individual freedom, that you have to sell your Bitcoin to a centralized exchange and sell it there. Now you will be able to do that on chain and completely skip this intermediate layer, which is a centralized exchange. And once we integrate with BINANCE and we can offer on a ramp, you can even do sell your Bitcoin on RUJIRA and off ramp if you want to take money in the real world from RUJIRA, or take your loan on RUJIRA and off ramp from RUJIRA to your bank account. So it's quite massive. We can completely remove this centralized exchange layer for a Bitcoin user, and that's the first time that we can do that without having to use a wrap version with a lot of additional exogenous risk.
Right. So if there's a Bitcoin maxi out there, if I'm making a pitch, what Pragmatic Monkey is saying is Thorchain, Maya Protocol, RUJIRA, we've made Bitcoin the asset we've always envisioned it to be, because vanilla BTC, you can't do much, right? With these new technologies coming out, we're making Bitcoin better without having to change Bitcoin. We're adding utility. We're adding, it's incredible what's going on. Go ahead, Pragmatic.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it is. At the end, if you so Bitcoin maximiness, I don't know how to say that, is a spectrum. You will have people who will probably never want to use. They are like proper maxi. They only buy Bitcoin. They never sell, and they only keep Bitcoin in their Bitcoin wallet. They don't want to do anything with that. Anything that a smart contract is a scam, and those people for sure they won't be using their Bitcoin. But then you get a lot more people who own Bitcoin and who actually want some utility out of it. And we know that already, because if you remember the CeFi period where we had, what was it? BlockFi, I think, was a big one. It was a few of those other platforms that allowed people to take loan against their Bitcoin. It was a huge demand for that. It was BlockFi was a very, very big success. And so that means there is demand from a lot of people who want Bitcoin to actually, take a loan against it, or sometimes you need to monetize and you need to sell a bit of your precious Bitcoin if you don't want to take a loan. Well, now you can do it without having to go via a centralized intermediary. This is massive. So it's still like not pristine enough for the more hardcore maximalists, but from the moment you do anything other than just buying and holding in your wallet and never selling, which at the end has very little utility, because if you cannot convert those Bitcoin back into some real world fiat to finance your life and your freedom, then it's a bit useless. But so for all the people who actually use their Bitcoin, now they can do it without centralized exchange. That's going to be big.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your time. We'll start rounding up the spaces. One question I guess we should have answered before was, you're going to have time to merge. Someone asked, will I lose my Kuji? You're not going to lose your Kuji, guys. There will be announcements. You'll have a month to merge on the same price, right? You'll have a month.
Yeah, you have,
and then it decays.
Exactly. 1 month to merge at the full conversion ratio. And after that, over the next 11 months, the ratio will decay. So you need to keep an eye on the news, but there will be plenty of communication around that. And once the merge contract goes live, try to merge within the first month, and you will get all your Kuji at the full ratio. And you can even stay deposited in the merger contract and earn even more than what you initially received.
Yes, yeah. Don't worry about losing Kuji. And the second part of your question about buying Kuji for getting RUJI, I can't comment on that, on the price. Of who knows what's going to happen with the price. But if you're believe in the vision, you know, Pragmatic Monkey, Patriots, you know, I think I've become more bullish, listen to these spaces, then yeah, you may want to buy some Kuji, because no one knows what the price is going to be and the comparison to Kuji or Rune. I did a post earlier of the percentage of fees that you'll get compared to the market cap of Rune, but you know, there's so many different variables. I don't understand Rune fully. You know, the Rune market cap's a lot higher, so you could say that, you know, Kuji, if you buy Kuji to merge into RUJI, RUJI could do well because the market cap's lower. There's lots of different variables, and yeah, it's difficult to say what the right answer is. Okay, let's go around the panel and then we'll give Patriot and Pragmatic the final word. Rexy, any final thoughts?
It's been really interesting, isn't it? It's been an eye-opener, and yeah, thank you for everybody that's took the time to explain it to us mere mortals. I guess as a validator on the Terra Classic chain, if anybody wanted to validate on Thorchain, how would you go about it, and where would you find your info?
Okay, to be a validator, I'll post here. Let me follow you. I'll send you some DM links. I'll hook you up with some materials. We got a dev Discord, and whatever you want to do, I'll make sure you get the information. Alrighty.
Is there any minimum that you need to run a node for Thorchain, or?
You need 300,000 Rune, but the thing is with bond providers, you can accept bond providers, and so you can crowdsource the amount of Rune you need in order to become a node operator.
Okay. Before the Luna crash, maybe I could have afforded that, but I'm too poor to run a Thorchain node now. Okay, thanks, Rexy. And again, guys, go follow Rexy. He's like one of the co-hosts here, and yeah, he's doing lots of cool stuff on Luna Classic, and I work with him closely as well with, you know, trying to keep Luna Classic going and also build. And there's the casino as well. We're trying to promote meme coins, Ben trying to do something similar to what Solana did. So yeah, go check out Rexy if you're listening. Okay, Kuji cast. I called you Kuji cast. RUJI cast. Final thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, that happened. So yeah, good to have been here. Of course, we're kind of here today, just in I guess a supportive role of Mr. Monkey, our French friend. Yeah, it's all kicking off soon though, guys. We're actually getting there now. It's pretty close, so I think it's about to get exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be good times, and yeah, let's fucking get it. Good times.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on, Kuji Cast. Yeah, check out. I called you Kuji Cast again, haven't I? Thanks for coming on again, Kuji Cast. Go check them out, guys. What they do, I think a lot of other platforms should do that. The educational stuff they put on Wink Hub, and they've got more developments coming on as well. So they're one of the tokens, Wink, that will be part of the merge that's happening. So yeah, go check them out as well.
Sweet.
Awesome. Okay, Patriot next. Thanks for coming on, giving your Thorchain perspective. Final thoughts from you?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm gonna put a Thorchain University link in the comments, so if people want to learn more, they can. Listen, so I'm American. I've worked very hard. I'm politically active to get an administration that is pro crypto. We succeeded. It was very hard. It was very tough. But the next 4 years, we got to go. We have to do this. We have to build it out. We get one shot at liberating the world, only one shot. And if we fail, the generations ahead of us will never forgive us. So we can do this. We are doing this. So I don't believe in pessimism or optimism. I just believe in execution. So we're going to put our heads down. We got 4 solid years, at least in my country. So I say we just go balls to the wall. Let's get it done. And let's build this thing, guys. And let's actually liberate the world. So I'm so excited. Thank you guys all. And thank you, WSB, for hosting this. You're a very smart guy. You clearly know what's the good stuff coming. So you guys, I hope you're following him, because he's got good instincts. He knows what's going on. So thanks, everyone, and please do what you can. Assert your own agency, and let's win.
Do you run the Thorchain University? I mean, I was planning to reach out to them to maybe do like a Thorchain specific spaces nearer to the launch of RUJI.
That's Baloney Bones. I'll send you his information. I do Telegram. I'm mostly the Telegram mod and in general educator on Thorchain, so that'd be Baloney Bones. He's great too. He'll be able to touch base with you.
Looks like they follow me. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'll reach out. I think that would be a good spaces to do. And thank you for coming on as well. I try to do these spaces every Sunday. We bring on new projects, and then projects that I like more, I just become a community member. And with Kuji, I've got a long history, and now with RUJI connecting to Thorchain. So I'm sure we'll be doing lots more content on both the projects. RUJIRA, I just want to shout out Eurodite as well. He's helped me arrange this. I'm not sure if he's speaking today, but yeah, maybe we can do another spaces before the merge TG happens. And thank you again for helping us arrange these spaces. Final words from Pragmatic Monkey.
Yeah, so very much aligned with Patriot's sound here, like in terms of letting people have agency and just let's fucking go and build it. And the one thing I would want to add is building the decentralized Binance is just step one. Eventually, crypto can only win if we move beyond crypto. If all what we do is to be a decentralized Binance where people can buy and sell token and those tokens have no utility outside of crypto, then we are out winning. The long-term vision is we are building this new economic and financial system for the world. And we are going to distribute the ownership of the system to all the participants. There is an opportunity for everyone now being early to own a share of this. And I'm not talking just about RUJI, I'm talking about, or RUN, like, I mean, a lot of projects are all converging towards this vision of a new world. And what we want to do, like, so decentralized finance is step one, but after that, like, we have a full vision of building, effectively, we want to onboard the next generation of entrepreneur, the guy with 15-year-old today, the girl with maybe 17, and in 3 to 5 years time, they are going to want to launch a business. And what we want is by then have the tools to allow them to choose to opt in to launch their business on on-chain rail rather than doing a traditional web to business. And so we need to provide the tools for them to have a very easy way to raise capital, spin out liquidity for their token, IPO from day one, to have tools for managing their treasury transparently, to have automated accounting in real time, to be able to spin out a legal wrapper in the real world, to be able to operate their business because they are forced to if you do something in the real world by the current rule of the systems. But we want to facilitate all those things and allow the coffee shops, the pizzeria, the hair salon, whoever to come and raise their capital and launch as a real world business on chain. And that's really, I think, eventually how we onboard the next billions and of users when we move all the economic activity from traditional banking rails into those new rails, and where tokenized equity is no longer a thing because equity is directly issued on chain, and where auditors like the big fours and are no longer relevant because the audit is just a ledger on the blockchain, and you have tools that allows you to verify that everything is there is correct. We want all those things to be there, to be easily available, and then we can really start to move crypto beyond crypto and onboard this next generation of user and entrepreneur to the blockchain. The more we do that, the more people will natively use blockchain as well as a means of payment, and the more we can make the legacy system irrelevant, or at least force them to try to compete by lowering their costs. But eventually, blockchain must win, because the difference is that you will never be able to distribute widely the ownership of Visa or MasterCard or JP Morgan, but you can distribute the ownership of those projects, and then it suddenly you are not just a user but also an owner, and you get back a share of the cash flow of all the economic activity are happening on chain. Then you have a vested interest in using on-chain on-chain protocols rather than using traditional world equivalents. And that's eventually how we win and how we create this big wealth distribution event and explosion of economic freedom and agency and ownership, and allow people like to lower the cost of business creation and entrepreneurship to the minimum, and to make it super easy for anybody to just launch a business and earn a fair share of the value they generate for society, instead of being a wage slave in some traditional Web2 company.
Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Special thanks to Pragmatic Monkey for sharing with what RUJIRA is building. Really excited for it. You know, before I put the spaces out, one of the things I said is surely I can't be third time unlucky with what happened with Luna and then Kuji liquidations. Listening to you guys, the synergy between Thorchain and RUJIRA, what you guys building, sort of the marketing as well of the vision of, you know, the decentralized Binance, Kraken. I'm really bullish. Guys, do check them out. Check out RUJI. They're one of the speakers here. Look forward to the merge. Go buy Rune. If you're a big Rune holder, go bond it. Support the app player RUJIRA. And yeah, I'm excited to share more content on them. I'll reach out to RUJIRA again nearer to the merge. Maybe we do another spaces, and we'll think about doing a spaces with Thorchain focus as well. We do these spaces every Sunday, guys, 7 p.m. We usually bring a guest. Last week we had HBAR, we had AI coins, meme coins, and I post this on YouTube as well. So in the future, if you guys want to listen to it, some of the things when Pragmatic Monkey was explaining the technical details of how Rune base layer liquidity will be used on RUJIRA, I might have to listen to that again. I'll post it on YouTube, all these podcasts. If you want to go listen to it, you can re-listen. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming on and spending your Sunday evening with us. We'll catch you guys again next week. Good night, all.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to be there. Thanks a lot.